What's up agents, Patrick Wolf here. Welcome to another Division 2 build video. This one is going to be a bit of a different one. This is going to be a TU6 launch build. This build will get you ready for the TU6 launch. There's a lot of changes happening. If you're unaware, go and look at the patch notes. I've done a lot of PTS videos. Make sure you know that there are big changes coming, and this is going to be a build focused around PvE and the difficult content. This build will allow you to be ready as soon as TU6 drops, to be able to go into the content with a relevant build, not a nerfed, irrelevant build. This will give you a relevant build that will allow you to do well in the new expeditions. There's a new mastery system. You get timed for the expeditions. There's new modifiers. Whenever you kill an enemy, they drop a grenade. There's certain things you've got to adhere to, certain rules that you've got to listen to and build around them to try and mitigate all these different kinds of grenade damage and distance rules and things like that. So we need to be ready for the changes, and this build is just for that. For people who aren't really sure on what kind of build to make, they don't want to go into TU6 blind, they want to at least have a decent build. Now, this is in no way a build saying go and farm these pieces. If you don't have these pieces, unfortunately, you're just going to have to put whatever else on that works, because we don't want to be farming. TU6 is less than a week away, so clearly you don't have to farm for these pieces. This is just a little guide. It's nothing special, just to help people to understand that there's a lot you have to do before TU6 drops, so that when it does hit, you have a semi-decent build to go through the content and maybe possibly get gold. Because you get timed in the expeditions, we want to get gold because we get lots of caches, which will then allow us to get all the new pieces of gear, the better loot, like the Fenris backpacks and all that good stuff. So let's get straight into this, guys. So the first thing we need to go to is the specializations. We're going to be using sharpshooter because we want to stay as far away from the enemies as possible. There's a new modifier that whenever you kill them, they drop a grenade. If you try and go up with an SMG or shotgun, you will get destroyed. You will get blown up. So you might be thinking maybe get some explosive resistance. You could do that possibly if you don't have the right pieces. I think it's Negotiator's Dilemma, which that actually might change. Just have a look at the patch notes, guys. I can't remember everything. Go look at the patch notes, see what rolls explosive damage resistance. Maybe you get the mods on your gear. Pop that on. That could also help, but this is going to be more along the lines of a solo build. This will help solo players because I'm mostly a solo player. Make sure you have assault rifle damage unlocked, rifle damage, because those are the two guns we're going to be using. And then make sure one in the head works, because this is going to work with your. We're not going to use a marksman rifle, but with the rifle gives us 25% headshot damage, which is very important. All the other ones are important, but I expect you guys to have all of them unlocked. So let's get straight into this build. Alright, so it's a TU6 launch build. This is just a little guide to show you guys what you should be using when TU6 drops, because there's more to it than what you might be thinking. So hard hitting for one. A lot of people will be rolling hard hitting on their, possibly even their gloves, their backpack, their knee pads, 105, whatever, 110% damage to elites. You cannot do that in TU6. You can only roll one. So let's just go through it step by step. So this is going to be a 2-12-6. We want to be tanky. TU6, the enemies are very tough and you get killed very fast, and they're not easy to take down. In the PTS, I found that anything below 270k armor and you will get melted very, very quickly. So we've gone for 2, 12, and 6. 318k armor. Like I said, don't go below 270. If you want to make like a clutch build, you could do that because obviously you're going to be getting your health back, but then make sure you roll high health. But then again, you don't want to be using SMGs because that revolves around crit. So if you know what I mean, you got to kind of keep the modifier in the back of your head that we need to be dealing damage from range for this one. Unless you don't want to do the expeditions at all and you just want to do normal PvE, in that case, and you don't really have to go for the long range weapons, you could go for SMGs because the MP5 is very, very strong in TU6. So that's the SMG that I would go for if you were wondering that. So 1200 skill power is very good. 85,000 health is okay. I would personally like to go for 100k, but that's okay. Don't go below 60. And skill power. My skill power is not very high, but it's okay because we make up for it for the BTSU gloves, as you guys can see. So the main primary weapon we're going to be using is the Diamondback. This is going to be my go-to gun in TU6. This gun hits like an absolute freight train. In PvP and in PvE. In PvP, you can one-shot anyone without even stacking any headshot damage. It's ridiculous. If you guys saw my previous video, I'm going to be going for a build like that, but clearly we don't have that builds yet, so this is what I'm going to be using. I will be using this build with this gun. The Diamondback is incredibly strong. You can hit about 600k to the head of an elite now without stacking DTE. So we're going to have to see what happens, because obviously we're probably going to get a bit less DTE, but because of the marking system and the damage buff that this gun is going to be getting in TU6. I mean, guys, in the PTS, I was at, like, if you go look at the footage, I think I was like at 120k a bullet without stacking any damage. So it'll probably go up to maybe 130, 140k a shot, and then all the modifiers and all the buffs, which makes it crazy strong. And another thing is, if you're playing solo, which I know a lot of people do play this game solo, is shedding skin. So you'll actually be gaining armor when you're reloading. So this is a very good gun to use. I recommend this gun in TU6 all day, every day. So a secondary gun. Now, I personally would have rather used a MP5 with Sadist and Allegro, but assault rifles are the better option because we don't want to be close to the enemies because of the modifier. So make sure you have Sadist. We're using the Hive. This will be buffed to 30% weapon damage, so you'll be hitting super, super hard. With Allegro, now you can use whatever you want there. That doesn't really matter. I wouldn't really focus too much on that as long as you got Sadist, because that's going to be unbelievably strong in TU6. Once you got that sorted out, use whatever pistol you want. I'm going to briefly go through all these pieces. So this is what you want to do, guys. Hard hitting, it's going to be 25% damage to elites, okay? Everything I'm telling you guys right now that is going to be might change in the live game. Just keep that in mind. We are not 100% sure. People keep saying this is how it's going to be, this is how it's going to be, especially the whole debate about hardened and vital. We'll be able to stack health through vital because it's not stackable talents. In the PTS, you could stack hardened, you could not stack vital. Now, people say hardened will not be stacked. We don't know. In the PTS, that's what I go by. You could. So you could in my eyes. So now we have to guess that it's still going to be, we're still going to be able to do that, even though I think a developer tweeted that you're not going to be able to stack it. But we're just going to wait and see. So we don't know anything. We're going to have to wait for the live game. So I've rolled health. Now, hazard protection is going to be a must in PvP, but we'll get into that later on. Damage to elites, you can get up to, I think it's 55%, plus 25%, so you can get a lot of DTE. So make sure to roll this on your mask. This is, I think, the best place to roll hard hitting. It's really up to you guys. If you want to roll on your knee pads, you can do that, but you'll see that it's important to have other talents in those slots. So the chest piece, the reason why I've gone for this is a very nice piece. I haven't re-rolled the armor. I could have got my armor up, but I don't need to. I've got 11% headshot damage. Unstoppable force is very good in TU6 as well. It's not as strong as what it should be, but it's still very good. It's a good damage talent, and this was just a good piece for me. You guys need to gauge on what piece you have, because having a piece of Overlord is nice because of the 10% rifle damage, and Unstoppable force is fun to use in PvE. So it's really up to you guys. Like, as you can see, I could have used something else. I could have used Bloodsucker, whatever. You guys can go crazy. Like I said, this is not a build that you should follow. This is not an OP build. This is just a little bit of help for people who might not know how to adjust their builds to make them TU6 ready. So, all right, 24k health, 70k armor. That's not very good, but we don't want to dwell on that. It's not too important. This is a very nice holster. 11 skill haste, 494 skill power with precise. Precise is very, very nice. Perfect holster talent for any rifle or marksman rifle build. It's a must. That must always be there. Make sure you have that. Now, when you are not running any kind of, what is that? Right here, Unbreakable. If you're not running Unbreakable, I recommend using this at all times. Efficient. Using an armor kit has 50% chance not to consume the armor kit. This is perfect for a solo PvE player. Always roll this. So efficient and hardened. Hardened is going to be 20% armor, guys. Hardened is one of the most important talents in TU6. Make sure you got this. I've got some health. Good amount of skill power, 20% armor, very, very nice. Plus the Healer Guard 2-piece, hazard protection. It just gives it that extra bit so that if we get put on fire or we get put on any kind of status effect, we can quickly jump out of it faster than usual. So hazard protection is always good. If you really want to, if you have a piece on your on your mask that instead of health, roll like a nice high roll of hazard protection, then I'd rather go for that. But it's really up to you and your play style. Like I say, people tell me that I tell people instead of having that roll this, and they call me out because they think that my build's not good enough. That is the opposite. I am helping people by telling them what they should be running because everyone plays different. Like some people won't want to use that there. They want to use patience because for them they stay in cover longer. Entrench wouldn't work as well. So that's why I tell you guys maybe put this on or put that because everyone plays differently. And the RNG in this game is so ridiculous that sometimes as a content creator, we cannot get the right pieces no matter how hard we try. So if that's a problem, you can just get your, out of the channel and go somewhere else then, because we work hard on our builds and sometimes it's very frustrating. We cannot get the right pieces. So that's why, like I'll say to you guys, instead of this, roll this, because the RNG is just impossible. All right, so let's go into the gloves. PTSU gloves, elemental gadgetry, energy infusion. We all know this. This is nothing new. We do have 6 electronics, which is great. That gives us 60% more healing and skill damage for our hive. So that's very nice. That's why we're using this. That's why we don't need a safeguard or any kind of extra skill power, because we're going to be amplifying the skill power with the BTSU gloves. Then Healer Guard, we know about the 2-piece, 20k health. Health is, we need to get our health up to 85. This is important that you need this on your knee pads. This is in my opinion, because guys, 10% of your armor every headshot is unbelievably strong, and you can really get your armor back, especially with shedding skin. You'll have a lot more armor than you can imagine. Now, if you want to, you can put Bloodsucker on this build. Then you will really be utilizing the armor regeneration, and you'll just be getting your armor back in huge chunks. So that's really up to you. You can pop that on if you guys want to. That's not a problem. Like I said, I'm just trying to give you guys a guide. So remember, talents don't stack. So it's very important to use certain talents that and don't repeat them, because it's not going to work too well. Now, if you want, you can go and you can kind of tweak this to whatever you like, change it up. Look at the patch notes before you do, though, to make sure you're not ruining the build. Now, this is not a build that I've completely, studied the patch notes and the PTS, but this is from my experience in the PTS and how I'm going to do it and how it's going to work for me, especially because of the modifier. So let's go into the stats. I'm just going to scroll this. You guys can pause it and read if you want. We don't want to dwell too much on this. Everything's active. Weapon damage is pretty high. Headshot damage 86%, very nice. 25 assault rifle, very good, so we can rip through them if we need to. Keep going down. The rifle damage it's not that good, but remember we've got 65% DTE, which is actually quite decent. Remember that will go up when TU6 drops. So don't worry about that one, because we're not losing because we haven't overdone it yet, so we will get a bit more. Then if we just go down, skills, skill ace is not very high, but remember the hive regenerates a lot better in TU6, so it's not that important. The chem launcher is just borderline higher mods, so we've got enough to make the mods pretty good, but you can use, this is more of a hybrid build, so you can use an auxiliary battery. That's up to you guys. So we're going to be using this hive right here. The Stinger hive is going to be very, very good. Forget about these stats, guys. In TU6, it's unbelievable. In the PTS, it was crazy, crazy strong. My favorite skill. You can drop it, pick it up constantly, and it just rips through people, puts them on the bleed, which then Sadist, you can shred them with your gun. To make sure you have Sadist on your secondary. Run, charges, and range. Those are the two I would pick for the mods. Then Chem Heal. The only reason why I put this on is because it's still going to be very good. We've got a decent amount of healing now. If you guys want, you can not use an auxiliary battery, stack more skill power. You can go crazy. This build is just a generalization of how to prepare for TU6 when it launches. So you guys can change it, go mad. Maybe you want more heals. Maybe you don't even want to heal yourself with this. Maybe you want to heal yourself with a hive and then use a different damage. Maybe some seeker mines. But just remember, you can only roll destructive on one piece. So we're going to be getting 60% better healing anyway from the BTSU gloves, because the Stinger hive is going to put them on the bleed. That's how we're going to get them status affected. So always keep that in mind, guys. This build will help you a lot. As soon as TU6 drops, you're going to put this on, you're going to run into it, and you're going to just shred through the PvE content. If you think of something better, then go for it. It doesn't matter. I just want to help you guys, especially the people who are unaware of the changes. This is what I'm personally going to use. So if you don't like it, that's your opinion. This is my build, and this is how I want to run it. But if you guys maybe want to give me some feedback to let me know, what I could change about it, but then like I always say, everyone plays differently. Everyone's got their own strong suits. I'm good at fast firing with a marksman or a rifle. If you guys watch the streams, I hit some major big flick shots with my Nemesis. So if you know me, you know those flick shots, boys. Can I get an F in the chat? Some crazy flick shots. So I like to play like that. I'm very good with my headshots. So it's up to you. If you're on console, you could probably rather go for devastating on the holster. But then again, go crazy, guys. This is just a bit of a help, like I always say. Leave a like, subscribe for more Division 2 content. We are getting massive State of the Game tomorrow, so keep in touch. Click that bell to make sure you keep up to date with my videos, because tomorrow is going to be a big one, and I'm looking forward to it. We're going to get a lot of reveals, hopefully. The new raids, the new PvP, things like that. So anyways, guys, please subscribe, leave a like, and I'll be seeing you just in the next video. Peace out, boys.